Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist Congregation. Unitarian Universalism, a faith where we focus on justice and compassion, where we have shared values, not beliefs. My name is Samar Adi, Practice Associate assisting Reverend Matthew Foncreri, our settled minister, in leading today's service. Welcome. Welcome into this space as we gather in community and in love on the lands of the Tohono O'odham and Pasiaqui tribes. We acknowledge as a way to reflect our actively seeking to develop relationships of justice, equity, and trust with all who feel kinship to this place, Sonoran Desert. Welcome to all of you here in person, those of you watching at this very moment, or those of you watching at some point in the future. If we could do a quick scan for the camera and wave and welcome those of you watching now or later. Thank you. Thank you, and this is a time when we also express gratitude. So thank you to all of you here, those of you watching. Thank you to both our staff who work at MVUU and to the many, many volunteers who help put together not just a service, but also contribute to the workings of this community. Our AV crew, our musicians, pastoral care, the board, committee members, child care providers, buildings and grounds, hospitality and welcoming. These are just some of those who labor to make things run as smoothly as they do. And if I did not mention you, I apologize. Thank you as well to all of you. The future is labor. So not necessarily the labor of production or the kind that equates our worth with how much we make or how hard we work, but the labor of creation and transformation, the kind that brings something new into being. We can reclaim labor as a deeply human act. At the heart of our gathering today is this idea that leadership, care, and community are not just about what we build, they're about how we live. And creating a new future cannot be done alone. It must be collective. It requires networks of support, trust, and shared responsibility. In my own work, I often find myself holding the tension between what's urgent and what's aspirational, between the meeting the immediate needs and holding on to joy, the possibility of something better. Today's service is an invitation to pause and reflect on that balance, to consider how we care for ourselves and each other, how we resist what diminishes us, and how we claim what makes life worth living. This is a defiant and deeply compassionate work. It means refusing to dehumanize. It means protecting systems and people who are vulnerable. It means laboring towards a future that honors both survival and dignity, where transformation is not just possible, but shared. So welcome today to MBUU. Today's chalice lighting incarnational Beatitudes by Reverend Nicole Anderson, Methodist minister.
Blessed are the homeless and those who beg for spare change, for they will inherit the house of the Lord.
Blessed are the Black mothers who lament the deaths of their sons at the hands of the state, for they will be comforted.
Blessed are the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersexual, asexual, and pansexual individuals who reflect the very image of God, for they will inherit the earth.
Blessed are the undocumented workers whose labors are hard and whose fear of deportation is real every day, for they will produce many fruits to sustain the kingdom of heaven.
Blessed are the marchers who put their lives on the line, putting their faith in action and demanding mercy for all, for they too will receive mercy.
Blessed are the disenfranchised children of Flint, Michigan, of the South Side of Chicago, of the boroughs of New York, of Aleppo and Syria, of Haiti, of Zimbabwe, Ethiopia, and all of Africa, and of Gaza, for they will see God.
Blessed are the peacemakers, as named by the Martin Luther King Jr., who continue to strive in making his dream a reality, for they will be called children of God.
Blessed are our Muslim, Jewish, Buddhist, Hindu, and First Nation siblings, and all other siblings of differing faiths, who do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with their God, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Blessed are those who are detained, deported, and unjustly held on account of their showing radical love and grace to a world filled with violence and hate, for their reward is great in heaven. Begin in gratitude. It's what my elders have always taught me. Not just to get it out of the way, to be done with it, but rather that gratitude then conducts and it guides and empowers all that comes next. And so 2 weeks ago, when I broke my leg, and then y'all found out, those of you who reached out to ask how I was doing, to offer your help, and to give me blessings and prayers for healing, well, I didn't expect it. And yet I'm very grateful. You've already made the coming weeks of my slowing down, my resting, my recuperating, and my healing much easier. Thank you. We live within many broken systems. We've just named some of them. They attempt to dehumanize us and isolate us from one another, even penalize us, rather than promote how interdependent we human beings truly are. And so we choose to live differently. And part of that is taking a collection each month for an organization through its vision and its work that begins to weave us back together. And that's why we call it the woven basket. Each Sunday of this month, we offer our thanks to these organizations with donations collected in the woven basket, which sits outside those doors next to our wooden bowl. The bowl is for your gifts of gratitude for the ongoing work of this congregation. This month, our woven basket recipient is Interfaith Community Services, ICS. They bring people together of many faiths here in this area. They weave us back together in a community of care.
Self-sufficiency may be defined as someone doing something for themselves, but I think it's unrealistic to think that we become self-sufficient without a community. Interfaith Community Services intentionally builds community around the individuals that we serve. Families may come to us needing food or financial help in a crisis, but when they're ready, there's a path to self-sufficiency waiting for them. Once someone has made the decision to move out of poverty and into stability, they will do anything to get there. And we have built these programs and services and systems to get them there. It's like the parable of teaching someone to fish. It's important that you not only teach them how to fish, but provide their first tackle box and fishing rod, and let them figure out which bait works best, and show them the spot where the fish are biting. And then you invite them to your house and cook them their first fish. Getting to the end goal, like stable housing or a degree or a really great job, takes a lot of work, but it also takes a wide-reaching community. We are that community.
All of your gifts to Interfaith Community Services or to Mountain Vista in the wooden bowl or woven basket, they are gratefully received. Thank you.
Our first hymn this Sunday, as it often is in and around Labor Day, is number 109 in your gray hymnal, As We Come Marching, Marching. The words, of course, will also be on the screen, but the origin of the words comes from the turn of the last century and out of the voices of the women's suffrage movement and the women's trade labor unions. Mary Helen Todd, brain is not doing the right thing. Helen Todd wrote in a speech in 1910, "Not at once, but woman is the mothering element in the world, and her vote will go toward helping forward the time when life's bread, which is home, shelter, and security, and the roses of life, music, education, nature, and books, shall be the heritage of every child that is born in the country, in the government of which she has a voice." Poem written in 1911 by James Oppenheimer, set to music by Carolyn Colsat in 1917. As we come marching, marching. Joel's not here today, so y'all have to sing out extra strong. He got called away. He should be back next week. But number 109 in the gray hymnal, if you would rise as you are able and see fit, and join us in singing.
give you all a chance to get comfortable, because I certainly have gotten comfortable right here. I invite you now to a time of contemplation, of considering and pondering bread and roses. Bread and roses are ancient symbols. In the earliest of human history, each represented the goddess, maiden, mother, crone, in various names and forms across time and culture: Demeter, Isis, Zoe-Ketel, Freya. Bread was the goddess's gift of subsistence, the foundation, food for life. And roses were her love, her devotion, passion, the gifts of pleasure and endearment, care and wisdom. One made life possible, and the other made life worth living. While connected at times and in cultures, it wasn't until the 1200s the lore of bread and roses began to become intertwined. And that was in the legend of Saint Elizabeth of Hungary. Through a time of plagues, famine, and fear, Elizabeth lived into her newly found Christian faith, following the example of St. Francis of Assisi. She defied her husband and local authorities to offer what she could to people in need, to bake bread, and then to deliver it. It is told that doing that just on a single day, bringing a basket of bread fresh from the oven, covered to keep it warm, with that delicious smell of baked crust in the air. Elizabeth was stopped and openly accused of disobedience. Certain of his authority over her, her husband snatched the cover from the basket, and yet it was not filled with bread, but with roses, red and gold, and the purest of white. The scent of those fragrant flowers rose, mixing in the air with that fresh smell of bread. Her husband and the men who accosted her were humbled by the miracle that they attributed to the Virgin Mary, which is just another form of the goddess. And thus combined, a new meaning of bread and roses would be birthed: defiance, to live and to love in the face of any authority which would restrict all that is life-giving, or to challenge the right to a life worth living. And this was the symbolism that surged into the early 1900s as women organized in response to the terrible factory conditions, seeking the right to vote here in the United States. And I'm grateful of this flyer, particularly the part that at the bottom right says, "Men especially invited." Women labor organizers, feminists, and union leaders took up the slogan, "Bread for all, and roses too." And this is what inspired James Oppenheim to pen the words that we have just sung. And one of those leaders, Rose Schneiderman, who's on this flyer, toured a lecture circuit telling all of those who had ears to hear what the women who labor wants is the right to live, and not simply exist, the right to life and sun and music and art. The worker must have bread, and she must have roses too. That movement led to many reforms in working conditions, the strengthening of our labor unions, and women winning the right to vote. Victories all. And yet the struggle for bread and roses didn't end. Because bread and roses has continued to be a rallying cry across our globe. Equality for black, brown, and indigenous women in the United States, for women in Afghanistan under the tyranny of the Taliban, and in every place where authority seeks to steal away daily needs and fundamental rights. Through the legends, through the victories of the past, bread and roses continues to be an affirmation that we are entitled to subsistence and to dignity, and respect and a life of joy. Through history and lore, to ancient symbols of the goddess, today's bread and roses is a demand that those divinely gifted, unalienable rights to life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness are ours, are everyone's. Think of that. That in labor, through our work, our vocations and occupations, each of us and all of us, we still have fundamental rights, rights that have been and are continually violated, but never denied. We don't deny them to ourselves. They are part of what it is to be whole, to be human upon this earth. Everyone is especially invited. All of us to seek a new and a different future. As we are graced with sacred radiance, the lore and history discloses just as long as we keep singing. Bread and roses, bread and roses. I invite you now to a time of meditation, of breath and rest, and hearing the wisdom of Walt Whitman. Whitman was a mystical poet who believed in the wholeness of our being, body and soul sensuously united. I am the poet of the body, and I am the poet of the soul, he wrote in Song of Myself. We cannot be separated from our wholeness, and so he wrote, it is always found in our vocations and our occupations. In his poem, Song of Occupations, he listed quite a few that were significant at the time. And in this meditation, we will give one another the peace of community, a moment in the busyness of our world, to breathe, to rest, and I'll offer you more of Whitman's words. Just as a reminder, there is no separation of the sacred and the profane. There is only you, whole and complete. We offer one another the space to breathe, to rest. Breathe in deeply as your body requires, and rest where you are. Breathe. If only for this moment, rest in the busyness of the world. And if you have ears to hear, listen. For there is a song of occupations. And the labor of engines and trades and the labor of the fields find the eternal meanings. Some of all known reverence I add up in you, whoever you are. Why? What have you thought of yourself? Is it you then that thought yourself less? Is it you who thought that the president was greater than you, or the rich were better than you, or the educated wiser than you? There is something that comes to one now and perpetually. It is for whoever you are. It is no further from you than your hearing, and sight are from you. It is hinted by the nearest, commonest, readiest. It is ever provoked by them. We consider Bibles and religions divine. I do not say they are not divine, but I say they have grown out of you and may grow out of you still. It is not they who give the life. It is you who give the life. Will you seek afar off, you will surely come back at last in the things best known to you, finding the best, or as good as the best. Happiness, knowledge, not in another place, but in this place, not in another hour, but this hour. Not in another place, but this place. Not some other hour, but this hour. Here. Now. May it be so, as we choose it to be together.
The hymn text writer, Alicia Carpenter, has taken these words from Whitman and fashioned a lovely text out of them. It's 356 in our gray hymnal and as well on the screen as always. And let's sit together and sing this, after which we'll have a moment to remember our joys, our sorrows, our happiness, our sadness. And then we'll take a moment and sing it again, because every good text stands to be heard at least twice.
Our ceremony of joy and sorrow is for you, whoever you are. Here now, in this place, in this hour, your happiness and joy, what makes life worth living, is welcome. But so is your sorrow, grief and anguish and ache, all that makes days drag and our nights hard to endure. We welcome it all. Did you think that we would only welcome your joy? That you must enter here and check your grief at the door? We welcome all that makes you whole. And in sharing our wholeness and celebration and comfort, then we become whole, and that begins our process of healing.
We gather water from Sonoran skies, from the taps in our homes, from the springs in the ground, to pour out. This is our gathering. We gather stones as containers for joy and sorrow. They have the strength of the earth, the wisdom of the earth. They are our Mother Earth. When given permission, we name joys and sorrows among us. I need to get to So first, I want to update us on Contigo. Zerubi and Liam are with family members in Colorado. Juana, Willie, and William are still okay for now here. And Robin Bissell sent us a great joy. After 17 years with cancer and the last 6 years metastasized, Robin's latest scan shows that she is now in remission. We know that there are joys yet unnamed. We add stones. And sorrows which are not ready yet to be given voice. This is our wholeness. This is our healing.
Leading us in our celebration and comfort is our pastoral care committee. Together, we know that you are coming with great joys and with deep sorrows. Each of us are here to listen, and if you wish, to share your joy and sorrow with our community, but we're here to help all of us respond, to celebrate with you, to meet you where you are at with comfort. You need not leave any part of yourself behind or seek afar off. Be who you are here, now, and be at home among these people. In this community, in this way, we find healing.
Slide, please. There we go.
Labor of love. Quotes from Valerie Kaur. Revolutionary love is the choice to enter into wonder and labor for others, for our opponents, and for ourselves in order to transform the world around us. It is not a formal code or prescription, but an orientation to life. An orientation that is personal and political and rooted in joy. Loving ourselves is escapism. Loving only our opponents is self-loathing. So loving only ourselves is escapism. Loving only our opponents is self-loathing. Loving only others is ineffective. All three practices together make love revolutionary. And revolutionary love can only be practiced in community. This love is more than just a feeling. Love is a form of sweet labor, fierce, bloody, imperfect, and life-giving, a choice we make over and over again. If love is sweet labor, love can be taught, modeled, and practiced. This labor engages all our emotions. Joy is the gift of love. Grief is the price of love. Anger protects that which is loved, and when we think we have reached our limit, wonder is the act that returns us to love. Thank you.
I have witnessed the labor of love many times over. I imagine so have you. Regardless of how many times I have seen it and participated and experienced it, through its challenge and struggle and oftentimes pain, it is a wonder, a delight, and a joy of new birth. The labor of organizing for justice. When I've worked alongside people daring to dream a future beyond overpowering oppression. Moving from imagination to empowering one another, shifting in meaning and focus, we've engaged that vision with our time and our talent and our treasure. There are disappointments. There certainly have been failures, but those are so that we can learn to become something new by blood and sweat and tears. And through this labor of love, the moment hoped for arrives, the impossible occurs, and justice wins through. I've seen this labor of love in relationships, the delight, the freshness of new connections between friends and family and lovers. The bliss of seeing and being seen completely and wholly for who one is. Through the ever-present challenge of conflict, that struggle to clarify your needs and to hold the other's needs. You can begin to forge new connections of personal growth that sometimes lead to an ending and sometimes lead to deeper relationships simply by pouring out, receiving, risking vulnerability. Until there is a birth of lasting interdependence, something that has never existed but between those people before. And of course, I've been present at literally 6 labors of love that have led to literally 6 births. And blissfully, I do not remember my own, the first. I imagine none of us do, thankfully. And respectfully, I didn't do the hard work of the labor for my 5 sons. What I experienced, though, in those 5 labors was the power of love to endure through suffering, fierce, bloody, imperfect, and life-giving. This power is at the beginning of each of our lives, even if we don't remember it. It's the first gift that each of us receives. And all of these labors for justice, for relationships, for our own birth and the birth of our children, they have similarities and they have differences, but they all result in the same thing, the start of a new future. A future more life-giving, with much more liberty, and always, always more joy. And this could be our future. Even though right this moment, it's hard to imagine. Because there are such hateful, cruel, and destructive people in power doing all that they can to remake the world in their image. It's not the labor of love leading to a new future that feels present and possible today. It's the labor of survival. Surviving, just getting through a day. And the loss of what seems like so much, the world that we thought existed and doesn't anymore. A world where our fundamental right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is being attacked simply because of who we love, who we are, what our highest values are. This is nothing new. As this image, Work, Buy, Consume, Die, by online artist Guido IV depicts, our culture has long expected us to labor for survival. Cultural philosopher Raoul Vaneigem says it this way: work to survive. Survive by consuming. Survive to consume. The hellish cycle is complete. I don't know about you, but this to me is a complete distortion of what it means to be human. Yes, we need to labor, to exercise our bodies and our minds, to contribute what each of us uniquely can with our aptitudes and our abilities. It's a gift only you can give to the world through your labor. So we do need to work. And we need to consume just calories and oxygen, though. And yes, in the span of our lives, our bodies and minds, they will come to an end and we die. Yet in none of that lies our worth. That's not your dignity. And that's not what makes life worth living. It's the bread, but it's not the roses. And today we're being told that we do not even deserve the bread. Subsistence is for a chosen few with the money and power to decide who belongs, who gets to sit at the table, and then who gets a few crumbs for their labor, and of course those who just get brought to the door and kicked out. And if you're feeling loss around that, I feel it too. It's dehumanizing, and it's causing suffering, and we're right to grieve. We're right to grieve for ourselves. And we're right to grieve for others. And we're right to grieve for our world. And we're right to grieve for our future. And that doesn't have to be tomorrow. Valerie Kaur teaches the future is dark. But what if the darkness is not the darkness of the tomb, but the darkness of the womb? What if our America is not dead, but a country still waiting to be born? What if our story of America is just one long labor? What if all the mothers who came before us, who survived genocide and occupation, slavery and Jim Crow, racism, xenophobia, Islamophobia, political oppression, and sexual assault are standing behind you right now, whispering into your ear, "Are you brave?" What if this is our great contraction before we birth a new future? She concludes, "Remember the wisdom of the midwife. Breathe," she says. Then push. Valerie Kaur is truly, truly a prophet. She dares to imagine a future beyond today, beyond the scraps of bread that we are being tossed and we are fighting over, to a future where we sit together at the table, a table full of loaves, enchantingly decorated with roses. And she calls to us to make this future, to be the midwives in labor, fierce, bloody, imperfect, and life-giving. Breathe, she says, and engage. Engage all that you are, who you love, how you live. Breathe, she says, and love. Love with all the gifts that it comes with, joy and grief and anguish and wonder. Breathe and push so that we will transform the future. And this all is more than just a dream, more than simply a hope. It's our legacy. All of those who have struggled for justice, all who have crafted relationships of lasting love, all who have birthed the future through the pain and suffering of the present, this is their gift to us. This is the labor of love. It's ours to receive. And more than that, if we are so bold to bring into life for all future generations.
In our gray hymnal, hymn number 69, Give Thanks. The tune is from the early 19th century Union Harmony, very, very traditional sounding Southern Harmony type hymn book, the hymn book of working class, lower class musicians of the time. Give thanks. Let's rise and sing number 69, and also on the screen, of course. For the corn and the wheat that are reaped,
As we prepare to leave this space, I hope we leave with the understanding that love, real revolutionary love, is not passive, it is a labor. This labor asks us to show up with courage, to breathe through the suffering, and to choose wonder when we feel spent. It is imperfect, fierce, and deeply human. And it is only possible when we commit to practicing it together. So let this be a calling to resist what diminishes us, because what diminishes one diminishes us all, and to protect what is tender, to build a future not just of survival, but of dignity. May we leave here ready to labor in love for ourselves, for one another, and for the world we're still shaping. Blessed be. The future is. It is happening. We want to keep you informed about the many opportunities for you to get involved with transformative moments and transforming actions of love, such as Cafe Justo. And so MVU offers Cafe Justo for sale as a delicious social justice project on the first and third Sunday of each month. Sparked by the hopeful ideas of one migrant in a time of despair, Cafe Justo, Just Coffee, has grown to become a sustainable, small-scale international coffee co-op, driven by providing pure, organic coffee in the spirit of justice. The price is $14 per pound, and we have ground and whole bean packages in caffeinated, decaf, and half blends. Take some home and taste the wonderful flavor that we serve here. I believe the table will be out there afterwards. The Humane Society. So last Easter in RE, we asked the children, how would you like to help out with our pets, with our community? And the answer was resounding, what was it? Pets, yes. And so we've decided to partner again with our friends at the Humane Society of Southern Arizona, and we'll be collecting donations for them through the month of September. You can find a full list of items that they need in our newsletter, flyers in the Oasis, or you can stop by the RE room and ask Stacy. And so some of these items can be found around your house, like toilet or paper towel rolls, old towels, newspapers, and then some of those can be also found at our grocery stores and many other places, like hot dogs, baby wipes, paper towels, disinfectant wipes. All donations will be collected here at MVUU and will be taken to the Humane Society. In addition to the donations, we will also be helping to pack food for their pet food pantry program in October. So we hope you will consider helping our pets in need by donating and joining us for our service project. More info to come. Showing Up Safer. On Saturday, September 20th at 2 p.m., in person and online, we are bringing the workshop Showing Up Safer here to MVU and our broader community. Led by Ray Strozo, a local activist and artist, this 2-hour workshop will offer insight into the risk assessment necessary to bring more safety with you when you join a rally, a protest, parade, or march. This is part of our ongoing series, Safer Together, funded by a grant from the UUA funding panel. Safer Together connects people of different faiths and backgrounds to learn to bring increased physical, social, and digital safety together. Finding Hearts is our small group ministry program, and they're going to have a session this fall with groups of 6 to 10 meeting for just 4 weeks. We are looking for facilitators, easier yet, co-facilitators who will have training to support. We are branching out with topics this year. You get to decide on the topic, when and where to meet, and how many in your group. The deadline for submitting a form of interest is September 15th for groups that will start in late October or November. The deadline for the winter session in 2026 is December 12th. If you have an interest in exploring something within a small, intimate group, please contact Alice Hutchinson, who will be in the Oasis room after service with forms and answering any questions that you might have. And her contact information is also in the MVU newsletter. Today's Releasing the Flame, an ending by Reverend Michael A. Schuler. We have reached the end of this time for the gathering of memory and for letting the imagination play with future possibilities. We have enjoyed magic moments and edified each other. Shall it be concluded then? Or will this adventure, now commenced, continue? Our separate paths converging, meeting, merging in the unending quest for love more perfect, the joyous struggle for meaning more sufficient and life more abundant. Is this ending to be an ending or merely prelude to new, more glorious beginnings? I pose the question, in your hearts lies the answer.
Go forth. Go forth and know that a labor of love awaits you, not beyond your abilities and your aptitudes, beyond your relationship, beyond your love, but for you, for us, for our future. Go in love and go in peace.
1960, jazz musician Nat Adderley, from his childhood in the 30s and 40s in Florida, remembered the songs chain gangs used to sing as they were working. Chain gangs being, of course, imprisoned citizens, and of course, it being Florida, they were mostly black. He wrote this that got to be pretty much his greatest hit, Work Song.